Thank you for your service. Those are very nice words to say. But if we really meant it, we wouldn't be acting this way. We have a war of words between each other, using keys attached to a computer screen. While on the day he was fighting for our freedoms, the soldier beside him let out a dying scream. We are able to have our lives today because of someone's sacrifice. The things we have and people we know because of the many who gave their lives. The years of fighting others so that we can wake each morning free, never believing that our country's president would be the real enemy.
You can be a Democrat, Republican, or independent, but the reality is we are all human beings who live with the division of ideologies that can ruin our American dreams. Used to be when views were different, their goals were all the same, to make things better for the American people. But this country's going up in flames. Of course, as humans we don't think, believe, or act the same. That has always been a given. But it doesn't mean that disrespect is a means to disrupt our way of living. We all were born Americans. We represent the same team, but choosing sides creates division and the war of words between Americans to each other. Mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers. Relationships suffering. That's what politics brings. We all are fellow Americans and we should be fighting for each other, certainly not against. It disrespects the American and immigrant soldiers who lost their lives for hours. Tell me how it all makes sense. Soldiers fighting side by side in the trenches from dawn to dusk, with the smoky haze filling the air. Was one a Democrat, the other Republican? I'm positive they didn't care. Thank you for your service. Thank you for all you did. You all went over as soldiers, but you all were still just kids. Some of you gave up years of your life, while others gave their lives as the sacrifice to have our country live free as unified states. Now your sacrifices have been in vain, tarnished and futile, because we are now a nation of division and hate. Thank you for your service. We all seem to forget how we kept our freedoms for all of these years, dating back to the Revolutionary War's ascent. Now it has been threatened for the last 10 years, not from enemies abroad, but our sitting president. A sitting president many still support, regardless of his lies and incompetence, hoping it's not racism that influences their support, because there's still hope if it's only their ignorance. What of all the soldiers who have lost their lives, who came home wounded, shell-shocked, unnerved? Some who face protests, backlash, and hate from a country for which they all serve. World Wars I and II, Korean and Vietnam. They came back in a box, or they have a lifetime of scars, fighting a war that was overseas. Now we have one in our own yards. A war started by a man who was supposed to be this country's commander-in-chief, who took an oath to protect this country from terrorists, foreign and domestic. Not to add to the grief, he has heightened division between Americans with his hateful words and obsessive lies, creating friction between family and friends who look at each other differently through each other's eyes. One calls him a racist, rapist, and felon, and we all know he is divisive. Others say he will lower their taxes and bring down egg prices. A president shouldn't be solely responsible for having to unite a nation as Americans. We should be able to do that on our own. All it takes is humanity, compassion, and respect for one another that makes it easier to get along. Why is this president purposely dividing the American people, creating amongst us anger and hostility? We had progressed so much as a nation over the years, even as we still strive equality. It used to be that parties could come together, sit down and respectfully disagree. They were doing what they thought would best serve the country, not for self-serving greed. Many soldiers lost their lives in a war that they were not sure how or why it even started. They were doing what they were told to do, doing so leaving their loved ones broken hearted, leaving a life that they may never return to. So many generations lost from so many deaths, so many generations saved from the sacrifices made, giving their lives for an administration that is now turning their backs on the efforts that have preserved this nation for so many years, protecting our freedom from enemies far and near. To think that our existence may have never come to be if not for the brave soldiers who fought so gallantly, not for a Democrat, independent, or Republican, but for and with each other and the country that they all swore they would defend. So the next time you go to write words of hate and division on your computer screen, just think of the soldiers who were next to the vet you just thanked when they let out a last dying scream, if he even screamed at all. Yes, thank you for your service, such a cliche, but nice words to say, but would have so much more meaning if we thought more about the sacrifices that were made. Thank you for your service, thank you for all you did. You all went over as soldiers, but you all were still just kids. Some of you gave up years of your life, while others gave their lives as a sacrifice to have our country live free as a unified state. Now your sacrifices have been in vain, tarnished and